Hey there YouTube, it's me Tifar Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a review. Yes, a Brucey bonus review this month, third review because I've done my 2 Korean toy reviews and now we've got a third review. It's yes, I've got something recently and I thought I'd do a review on it. And it's a KO bot. It's an oversized KO bot of a third-party figure that I've got, and I picked it up at the NEC Toy Fair recently, and you'll see it tomorrow in my end of month bot haul. But I really like this thing, and I thought it'd be worthy of doing a review. I looked online to see if I could find any reviews of it, and I couldn't find any reviews of it. And it's a bit basic and crappy compared to the original figure it's based upon. It's very, very simplistic, and it would have qualified for a small stuff review, but as it's based on another third-party mould that I've got, then it also qualifies for a KO comparison video, and that's why I decided to do this as, because I can flesh this video out a little bit and say a few more things about this and do some more size comparisons with other character mould versions I've got of this figure. So, what have I got? Well, a little bit of context. Where did I get it? Now, I picked it up at the NEC Toy Fair back on the, when was it? It was Sunday the 16th of April. Went there, did my usual thing, got an early bird ticket, got there around about 8 o'clock-ish, met my friend Richard, and we did our usual tactic when we get into the hall. We sort of do the outside round, we go around the stalls on the walls, around the outside first, and then when we get back to the front, we'll then sort of like start zigzagging up the middle from front to back, going up and down the aisles, seeing the rest of the stalls. So we just started our lap, or our clockwise lap around the hall, around the outside, and up the left-hand wall, about halfway along, is usually a guy who I like to buy from regularly, called King Street Collectibles from Wolverhampton, and I was looking for his store, but I came across another store before that, and it was a fairly big store. It was a guy who was setting up. He had a lot of stuff on boxes on the back. Quite a few. I mean, there was loads of other vintage toys on this store, not just Transformers. But he had some box Transformer things on the back, and then he had a table full of trays on the front. And in the front corner, there were some bagged KO bots. And I was walking past and I just glanced across and I saw this thing poking out. And I looked across and there was a couple of KO oversized War for Cybertron Siege Hound figures in there in various colourways. But there was also this other thing sat on top. And I looked at it and I thought, that isn't what I think it is it? So I picked it up and had a look at it and said, bloody hell, it is. And I couldn't believe that a KO of this particular character existed. So I put it down, and I was going to walk past, and then I got about 2 steps past, and then and you know what, I'm going to get that, because I'm a fan of the character anyway, and I decided to pick it up. It cost me £2, and the guy said, he says, oh, do you want to choose another one? Because he was going to be like a 2-for-1, because they were any cheap, nasty knockoffs, but I thought, no, I'm good with the one I've got. So carrying on round, did the rest of the thing, and then I was fiddling with it, I showed it to a few other people I met at the event, and also when me and my mate Richard, we usually, when we've done the haul, we will go to the back of the hall and sit down and have a cup of tea, and I got it out and had a mess with it there, and it's kind of got its hooks into me, it has. So anyway, what have I got? Now, you probably saw it from the thumbnail. I've managed to pick up this. Now, it is a KO oversized version of this, the Iron Factory IFEX, is it 31? Spirits of the DC Doobie, or their IDW Tarn. So it's basically a KO upscaled version of this, and so that's basically what it is. So it's a KO, right? It's a knockoff, right? It's been super simplified. It's been oversized. It's got these gaudy sort of colours, the white and the lime green and the dark green. It's got a very scant paint apps on it. simplified moulded detail. It's got parts forming on it. It's to transform it, you have to basically pull the arms off and reattach them. And parts forming it's never a good thing. I mean, there are certain characters, certain figures that have parts forming as part of the way they work, like G1 Ultra Magnus, for instance. There's a parts forming figure for you. But yeah, but this, you don't need any parts forming on this one apart from the gun. So this one they simplified the engineering so much that they turned it into a parts former, and it's never a good thing. It weighs next to nothing. It's super hollow. And it's got really restricted articulation. So there's so many bad things you can say about this figure. You know, it's got all the hallmarks of a bad KO. And yet, it works. It works as the character. And it works really, really well. And I've been totally taken by it. So anyway, so here's the tank mode. The Cybertronian tank mode. I mean, if you look on the front, you can see it's got the chest plate. You've got the little feeler things, that stick out the front. You go down the side, you've got the rear treads are picked out with some moulding. Front treads not so much. I mean, if you look underneath, you can see there's some tread pattern there, but there's these pegs sticking out, but there's very little detail on the front there. Going back, you've got these chunks hitting here with a peg port there, and you go around the back and it's just blocks of legs, and underneath you can see the robot folded up. So yeah, the tank mode, there's not much to it, but the colours, I mean, you've got the dark green in the middle and on the gun, and then you've got the white on the arms and the legs, and then you've got the rest of this nice striking lime green round the back. And I like the colour contrast on this is really good. So you've got the dark green, the light green, and the white, and it contrasts rather well, and it just works. It just works really good. Now, transformation on this thing is very, very simple, and obviously parts forming involved. So to start off with, pull the gun off. It just pegs into the top there. Then you can pull the arm off, which pegs into there. It's got two little peg ports there. So you pull both. Pull both the arms off. And then you pull these track sections off. So I said it needs some parts forming. So basically, you've got to take all these bits off to transform it. So what you're left with is this. Now, to transform it into the base robot mode, you unplug the feet, fold them round, and then straighten the legs out, and split them. And then push down the chest piece, and there we have the basic legs and torso. So now we've got to add the rest of the pieces, the parts forming pieces that we took off. So you start off with these track pieces. So they have like a peg and a port on each side. So you sort of fold them up and plug them together. Now they've got two pegs on the back, and they've got a peg on the bottom and a port on each side. So what you do, you make sure you have the pegs on the back. There's a port on the shoulder. You just plug that on like that. Do the same on the other side. Fold the track up, angle it, turn it round so that the other pegs are on the back, and then you just plug it on there. Turn it round, and that's the shoulders done. And then the forearms. So you've got these two forearm pieces. They've got some pegs on the inside. You've got a moulded fist that kind of looks like it goes one way. So what you do is you have like a port on the back. You have a pin or a peg on the bottom, and you just plug that in there. And you do the same with the other one. You just plug it in there. Now you can turn this round so that the arm's basically back to front, but you've got the pegs on the side because you've got to have somewhere to plug the cannon in. Now you can plug the cannon into the shoulder because it does have a port where it can plug into the shoulder, but it's supposed to plug into the arm. So just plug it in there, and there he is, Tarn, with his his double fusion cannon. So there we go. That's the transformations. Very, very simple, very straightforward, and you end up with this very bright, very gaudy, simplistic looking IDW Tarn type figure. And I love it. I love the way this thing looks. It's super crude. And you go around the back, it's got super hollow legs. The feet are all hollow. The arms are hollow. I assume the back of the head is hollow. It's all hollow. I mean, the chest is enclosed, but apart from that, everything else is all hollow. I mean, the underside of the gun is all hollow as well. So yeah, it's got all the usual hallmarks of a KO bot. It's got his head sculpt. They probably can't make it out. Hang on. There we go. It's got his head sculpt. It doesn't move. There's no articulation on it. It's fixed and it's hollow as well. The eyes aren't knocked through, so you can't see any light through the eyes or anything. Articulation. It's got pegged shoulder, so the arm will go around like that, but it won't go in and out. There's no elbow, but you have got, because the thing's pegged in there, you have basically got a bicep swivel. Nothing at the waist. The hips on a ball joint go out that far. They go forwards. They go back. Knees are pinned. They go nice deep knee bend, and then the foot's got a hinge on the back so that it folds around for transformation, so you can get a little bit of a toe tilt. But that's it. That's all the articulation you get. Very, very crude. Now, let's do a comparison with some of the other Tarn molds that I've got. So, start off with, let's do a quick comparison with the Iron Factory one. I've just got to transform it, so if you just give me a moment. Right, so there we go. Quick size comparison with the figure that it's based upon, which is the Iron Factory Doobie. So if I bring him forward, so they're about the same size. Hang on, let's just angle, get the... I mean, obviously, they've taken liberties with the moulding on this thing. There's a lot of moulding detail which is missing off this compared to this. But there, surprisingly enough, there's some other moulding detail on this that isn't on this version in a few places. So it swings and roundabouts. Paint apps, this thing's hardly got any. You can see it's got a little bit of silver on the chest. There's a little bit of silver on the gun, but that's all you get. Obviously, it's nowhere near as well coloured or appointed as the Iron Factory original. But there we go. Then we've got recent edition. We've got the Legacy Evolution Tarn, which came out and was more a top bot last month. And then so this guy's kind of chunky, but this guy's a lot more slim and slender. He's quite lanky with those long legs, but he's a pretty cool bot, and the first official Tarn figure. So that's one big tick that he's got going on. He's actually an officially licensed, officially made Tarn figure, which is really good. I'm surprised that Tarn actually made it into the official toy line, being a comic original character. But there we go. And the original one, the OG figure, Mastermind Creations Cool Tour. So yeah, let's bring him in. Like I said, he's got this guy's got quite a lot of chunky aesthetic going on. The IDW one, excellent figure. Really cool transformation. Looks the part. Awesome figure from back in the day. Like him a lot. So this figure. I decided to just do a quick review on it. It's really cool. I like it a lot. it's got a lot wrong with it because it's a KO bot. You know, it's lightweight, it's hollow, it's got simplistic transformation, restricted articulation, it's in the wrong colours, blah blah blah. You know, it's got all that fun. Also, another thing I want to put in before I finish this video. Obviously, it's got very thin plastic, but KO bots in general tend to be made out of a fairly hard, brittle plastic because they do break very easily. But this one isn't. This one's made out of a fairly soft, bendy, pliable plastic, and so far it's holding up really well. I'm quite surprised, and the pegs, the little pegs on the sides, you've got a round peg, and then you've got like a hexagonal port that it plugs into, and the joints are fairly fairly taut on it. It's really surprising actually, considering it's a KO bot and it's ridiculously simplified. Yeah, but I really like this thing. So yeah, I thought I'd just do a quick review on it. Like I said, it's a KO oversize of the Iron Factory Doobie, and it has some things in common with it in the way that it's moulded, but for the most part, they're two totally different figures because of the engineering simplification that's been put into this. But that said, I don't regret buying this thing at all. I actually love this thing to bits. It's really cool. It just works. It just works as what it's intended to be, as a oversized KO Tarn bot. It just really works well, and I'm absolutely blown away by this thing. It's so cool. So that's been my extra Brucey bonus review for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've got my end of month bot haul video coming tomorrow. This guy's on it, so I picked him up at the AC Toy Fair a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and a few other interesting bits and bobs. So hopefully you will join me tomorrow and see what I got. And I've been CFO Wilderness. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all next time. Goodbye.